Hi class, so let's talk about definitions and descriptions. So first things first, I do want to note that we're only talking about the first half of Marco's chapter 14 in this unit. We're going to return to the latter half in unit 7, which really talks about instruction sets. So first thing, what are definitions and descriptions? Well, they're related things. Definitions tend to try to really offer a specific understanding of exactly what something is, whereas descriptions tend to be longer explanations. They can often refer to things that are objects or mechanisms or processes, so they have a larger range and they tend to be longer than definitions. We're studying these things in this unit because they often act as important building blocks to our technical documents that we're working with. So we're going to be working with proposals and reports, and definitions and descriptions are often used as part of these larger documents. At the same time, definitions and descriptions really do need to be tailored to the audience that is reading them, that is using them. So it's really useful to get some practice on this shorter type of document first. Just to give you an example of how you do really need to pay attention to adapting your definitions, I want to think about the concept of genre, which is a term that is fairly typical and really used a lot within the academic field that I'm in rhetorical studies. And in this field, we might try to use a definition that really helps us use the concept in ways that we need to. So Swale's definition from 1990 was a genre comprises a class of communicative events, the members of which share some set of communicative purposes. So that's actually a fairly broad definition, but it's one that we might be able to use to understand what we really mean when we say genre. However, that's probably not going to be very useful to a lot of other people who are outside of the rhetorical studies area. So a definition that might give a little bit more information that actually might work more effectively for other people might say a genre is a category used to classify discourse in literary works, usually by form, technique, or content. But at the same time, even this might not be enough of a definition depending on the audience. We might need to really explain some of these concepts. What do we mean by form? What do we mean by technique? What do we mean by content? And what is a discourse of literary work? So an extended definition, a fuller description of this might need to take into account all those different concepts. So just something to think about. Think about your audience as you're building your definitions. It's really key to making sure those definitions work. So we're going to be looking at 3 different types of definitions in this unit. We're going to be looking at parenthetical definitions, which are just really parts of sentences. They're usually set off from the rest of the sentence by parentheses or perhaps by commas. There's sentence definitions, which are often a single sentence long, or sometimes they're a little bit longer, but there's certain specific features of what makes an effective sentence definition. So make sure you're taking a look at Marco. He does go over some of the specific features that can make an effective definition of that type. And then there's extended definitions, and extended definitions have a much larger range. They tend to be longer. They tend to be at least a paragraph long, but often go on to multiple paragraphs. And then there's a lot of different ways to do extended definitions too. So take a look at that content, shoot me some emails, or post some questions on the discussion board if you're confused. I think we can definitely go into more depth on this. So let's talk about the Munger case. Briefly, you'll be working on a case for the Bayside United Green Squad, or BUGS. It's a nonprofit group that works with young people aged 10 to 16 and really just helps them think about environmental issues, about gardening, about food. So one of the keys to really paying attention to the definitions in this case is thinking about that audience of young people, aged 10 to 16. You need to really think about what do they need to know, how are they going to be using these definitions, which are going to be posted on a blog, which is going to be used to try and help them keep in touch and also give them information about gardening. So how are they going to use them? How are they going to interact with them? How are they going to think of them? How can you make these definitions effective for that audience and that purpose? That's a really key point in really making and achieving the goals of this particular case. So that is all for the videos for this week. Tell me if you have any questions like usual. Happy to keep on talking about it, and I'll be watching all of your work as you go forward. Thanks.